Hello everyone and welcome back to Closet Gaming. Today we're going to take a look at Mooseman. This puzzle adventure game gives you the chance to explore the wonderful myths of a pagan finno-ugric culture. So, I will be honest from the beginning. This probably isn't the most complex adventure game on the market. But that certainly isn't a selling pitch. In-game, you take on the role of the Mooseman, a person who I personally would describe as essentially a shaman of the Perm people. Oh, by the way, Permians are the finno-ugric people who live mostly in northern Eurasian regions. But back to the topic, the game. As the Mooseman, you have the ability to see hidden things to the eyes of regular mortals. Using your abilities, you have to solve puzzles and fight dangerous spirits. The first obvious mechanic of the game is being able to peer into the spirit world. This allows you to traverse to places you would not be able to get to otherwise. This is done in several different ways. Sometimes it's just a basic thing where there are things in the spirit world that aren't in the regular world, and you can use them as bridges and such. In other cases, you can communicate with spirits that are hidden in different objects. Usually you can move them from place A to place B, again creating a bridge for yourself, or perhaps solving some puzzle, opening a path for you to progress further. I've had an interesting chance to discuss the potential educational impact of this game with my girlfriend, who is studying at the moment at university to become a teacher. In her opinion, this sort of storytelling could really be used as an additional tool while teaching children about history, but probably not a main tool. It could be used in conjunction with more traditional means of using the game to engage the children in the subject that is being taught to them. But what she really liked was the way the myths themselves were presented, allowing the children to take them in part instead of one huge single block of text or listening that will just bore them to death after a short time. What she saw as a potential problem is the fact that it is possible for some children not to have access to either a computer or a different device on which to play the game that is supposed to educate them. But this would mostly be an issue only in third world countries, as in even second and first world countries, everybody has access to one of these. The last issue for the game is of course its locality. The subject of the game would probably only engage children from areas that are directly talked about in game. But this could also be easily circumvented by changing the culture the game talks about. In the end, the educational potential of this game is most likely only occasional, as you have to deeply think whether your students are the correct type of audience for this type of media. Whether having a game in your teaching is actually accomplishing something useful, but at the same time, using computers and things related to computers is becoming more and more important for teachers and students, and this could potentially be a good way to use them in the future. As you have probably noticed already, the story of the game is really important, but in a slightly different way than is usual for most adventure games. Instead of the story having the supporting role for the gameplay takes on the supporting role for the story here. You're one of the Moosemen, traveling the world, facing dangers and having to succeed against great odds. You will cross many worlds and see many things closely tied to one of the finno-ugric cultures of old. But honestly, if I went into any more detail about the story, I would be ruining the game for you. Since the story plays the prominent role, even the smallest of spoilers would hugely impact your enjoyment of it. The graphical style of this game is very simple, yet I find it very beautiful. The whole game almost gives you the sense of actually being drawn by Asian people. This is of course done deliberately, as you're supposed to get really engaged in the myths of these people, wanting to know more and wanting to learn more. The game mostly uses the contrast of black and white colors, as anything beyond these two very basic colors was very hard to create for people in past times, especially when talking about people who essentially had the technology of, let's say, the Bronze Age. But the game also uses these colors in a very impactful way, making each image being displayed feel almost like a piece of art that could be shown in a gallery. At the same time, the images feel almost warm, alive. This is achieved by the sleight of bits of movement here and there, mostly while you're in the spirit world. And honestly, if you can, spending the most of your journey through the game in the spirit world makes the whole experience that much more wonderful. What my girlfriend liked about the graphics was its clean look. The fact that each little piece of graphics had its place. This combined together made her feel something, and that alone is something that most game styles cannot achieve. The music is very similar in a way to the graphical style. It is still very simple and uses very few tools to achieve an emotional impact. I honestly cannot describe this very well, but the deep chilling tones and short notes while you're outside make you feel like you're actually walking through the snow, making you feel each of steps has weight, and the sound, whenever your character is in danger, really makes you feel threatened, and whenever you pass the obstacle, the music switches to something much more joyful. Obviously, the game runs well. It would probably run well on a calculator these days. No worries here. So, in conclusion, a very interesting game with an unusual premise. Instead of caring how the game plays, you care about what the game has to say. This really isn't something you can find often in games these days. If you're interested in narrative-based adventure games, or just the graphical style has really enthralled you, you should definitely buy this game. But even if this isn't your usual cup of tea, consider at least taking a look at it, as it is an experience that is worth experiencing. Well, that's it for today, guys. Hope you liked the review, and if you did, please consider liking it, subscribing to my channel for more gaming reviews, or comment if you have something you would like to add. And if you don't like the video, well, dislike it. See you all next time with more gaming content.